I'm Chad Ruthermond.
And I'm Andy Kinnick.
And welcome to NOCLIP Pocket. Find your deal. Today, we're going to be talking about Superbrothers Sword and Sworcery EP, which was developed by Capybara Games and Superbrothers, was published by Capybara Games, and was released in 2011 on the iPad, iPhone, Windows, Mac OS X, Linux, Android, and it was eventually ported also to the Switch.
Yeah, those kind of trickled out to everything.
Yeah,
feels like everything we talk about now has come out on everything, and it's staggered over like 5 years.
Yeah, which you might say means that we are very late to all these games, but
Sure.
that isn't it. We're super, we're good. We're real good. Anyway,
So topical.
Superbrothers is a point-and-click adventure game with kind of a slapped in there combat mechanic.
Yeah, it's very much like a phone game, if that makes sense, for lack of more specific terms. Like, when playing it, it very much, you can tell that it was designed for phones initially. And I played this, like the first chapter of it, probably like 4 years ago or something, like a long time ago. And I didn't remember that about it. I also didn't remember like the humor in the game either. So like coming back to this was kind of weird for me.
Right.
I remembered it having kind of like a mysterious tone, and like having played the whole thing now, I don't know how I didn't remember the humor, because that's like its shtick.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I would never call this game a comedy game specifically. Like, I don't think it's there to make you laugh, but the dialogue is written in a way that is intentionally, like, juxtaposing how casual it is with, like, the task that they supposedly have put you on.
Yeah, I think it's super tongue-in-cheek, personally. Maybe it just stood out to me because I had forgotten it.
Right.
But, like, I would call it a comedy game. Like, I feel like every time it makes a joke, it's expecting you to be laughing at it. Like, it thinks it's real funny. And I don't want to come off too harsh on it. It just kind of, I got the feeling that they wanted this to be a funny game while I was playing it.
Well, yeah, and I agree with that. I think it is supposed to be funny, but I don't think that that's its express in, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a serious game, for what it's worth. Like, that obviously is not it. But I don't know, maybe I felt like it didn't lean as much on it as you did, but either way, yeah. It's mostly it's mostly the dialogue. Like, there isn't anything inherently humorous about the overworld.
No.
But you will run into stuff, and that stuff will talk to you, and it will be discussed in a very flippant sort of manner.
Yeah, and you get the tome after the first chapter, and it's basically like a smartphone. Another way that it feels like you can clearly feel like it was designed for phones, because it kind of mimics a phone interface a little bit. And every single post in it from every single character is like a joke.
Yeah. Even the ones that are explicitly tutorials for stuff, they're not written as a tutorial. There's one that I remember that was like, I hope the Scythian knows that they double tap on the path in order to move it twice as fast. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I didn't know that, so like I was glad that I read it, but then I was less glad that it had a weird joke in it.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of my notes, and I didn't think it would come up immediately. But the tone of this game is something that I find really weird, or like I don't know quite how to feel about it, because I don't think like it clashes with itself. But as I said, like, I remembered it being mysterious and like atmospheric in a certain way, and that's definitely in there. But then all the dialogue and the characters are like tongue-in-cheek, and there's a lot of fourth wall breaking in the dialogue.
Yeah.
And they like speak directly to the player, like, you know, right to you. And even your character will talk and kind of reference you, like as if she knows she's being controlled by you.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's just like, it's like a cocktail of things that like I don't really know how to feel about.
Yeah. I think that the framing of this is supposed to be that it is a that it is a game within the game. Like you are,
It's like a ritual.
yeah, a ritual, or maybe like even like a therapeutic procedure. It's not made entirely clear, but the archetype is like administering it to you. And I don't know, like I got down with that kind of stuff. Like I definitely
I didn't
dig
dislike,
with this game.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it. It's just like weird.
Yeah, it is super weird. And I don't disagree with that. But yeah, they like refer to you as being like you're being guided by the thumbs of a god or something. So like even in the game, like your player character isn't specifically you. It is like a different it's
The
they
Sylvan or whatever you're called.
Yeah, they actually call it out at the very beginning of the game where they talk about how this game is in second person, like it isn't a first or third person game in the most technical way imaginable. But yeah, so that's the game. That did come up immediately, which was odd. Because the thing that I was going to start with was this game is divided in the weirdest way imaginable, where there are 4 chapters, and the first one is really short, and the second one is pretty short, and then the third one is the entire duration of the game, and then the fourth one is really short. So I don't understand why they went through, why they kick you to the main menu to split this up in this way when they could just put like a title card or something. They even have that like banging music that occurs in between the things that they could just fade into that and then fade back in.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's hard for me to put my finger on. It's part of it feels tonal to me. Like they want to build up that mystery around the moon phases thing, and be like, "Ooh, you have to wait to play the game some more. Like, aren't you tantalized?" It's kind of a thing, but I don't know. It might be tied into that specifically, the moon phases thing. Like, maybe that was more of a thing at one point. Maybe the game was supposed to be longer at some point, and they had to cut stuff. And I don't know. It's hard to put your finger on, but there is something about that feels off. And it probably contributed to the fact that I played the first chapter, and then it was like, it booted me to the main menu, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'll stop now.
I did the same thing.
Then I just didn't play it again for years, because I think it was like there were a couple of games like this. I think I started it like right around when we started the podcast, so I never went back to it because I now just play other shit like it's my job. But yeah, so it is kind of maybe not off-putting, but it is weird.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's very weird in like the differing lengths of the things. Because when I played it and got through the first chapter, I thought like, this is done like this because it was a phone game, because it was developed for a phone.
Maybe it was released in chapters.
Yeah, or they just wanted to like put some separation in there so that you could like get behind a short play session where you play for like a little bit of time, but you feel like you've actually accomplished something. But that is the opposite of what happens as soon as you get to the third chapter, because the third chapter is intentionally really esoteric. It's like hard to parse. And then the game never cuts away until you've finished it. And like, theoretically, if you're playing it in the wait for the moon phases way, the third session could take you 3 months to finish.
Yeah, and I don't really like, so I was looking up some stuff about this game, and apparently initially like the concept for it was that it was supposed to be like a concept album that was interactable, like with a point and click style game mapped onto it. And I feel like a lot of like the weirdness and the pacing and stuff could probably be traced back to those roots. Yeah, it almost feels like the first 2 episodes being short, and then the bulk of it, the middle of it being long, and then it finishing up like, I don't know. It almost kind of feels like the flow of an album. Like you got like an opening track, and then you have like the rest of it, and then like a final track.
Right.
That like you want those pieces to stand out.
It's like 2112 which has like 2 tracks, and then 2112, which is the entire one side of the record, and then the rest of it's all in the back.
Yeah, so I don't know if that made any sense, but like that's just what that kind of stuff makes me think about is like I wonder how that impacted the development of this game.
Yeah. I think so. Yes, this game is definitely about music in a way, or rather it's about highlighting the music it does have and the guy who wrote it, because they just put him in the game and had him there when they played the songs. But there's so little music playing most of the time. It's super strange.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd even disagree with what you just said. Like, I feel like the game does have good music in it, but, like, it has the name of it is, you know, the Sword and Sworcery Brothers EP, or Superbrothers Sword and Sworcery EP.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, EP, like, extended play, like an album. And there's, like, the imagery of the record that's in a few places in there. And your character does sing, but it's very abstracted game mechanic, and your character isn't really singing from your point of view. And they have the composers in there as a character playing a guitar, and there's the part with the concert towards the end. But, like, it really didn't feel like it was about music or highlighted music as being important that much to me.
Right.
Like, given the roots of this game, it didn't really feel like music was, like, part of its identity to me.
Fair.
And I don't know if it was just me, because, like, everything I've, like, read about this game or heard about this game would suggest that that is the case, but I didn't really feel like it was there.
I think that the game is presenting itself in such a way that music is a core goal of it.
Yeah, but
my
I don't
point
think
is that it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, like it doesn't
doesn't
have enough to it.
Yeah, it doesn't come across like that.
Because your actual gameplay is mostly silent. The songs that are there get cut off really awkwardly when you do things, and it felt like that could have been smoothed out or just not done. Like they could have just had the music play.
Yeah.
And it was strange, because so many things in this game take so fucking long to do that they could have just had the background music that they score and put up. Like, I don't know if that's part of the tone, but if it was, I didn't love it. It was super weird. I don't know. Like, I liked the parts where the music did come in, and it did make, like, almost all of the songs are, like, actually real good. Like, they're good in a like a Hyperlight Drifter kind of, like, atmospheric way, with a couple of songs that are just straight up, like, bangers. The concert song is good, and the song that plays at the end of the chapters is insanely good. And so they do a good job with actually making the music, and then they just leave it at, maybe they wanted you to want to hear the music more by making absence make the heart grow fonder, but I don't know.
Yeah, like, to me, I didn't really notice that sort of thing, like the music getting cut off in weird ways, but it did feel like it went long periods of time without it, and then it did. I mean, if that's what they were going for, it did make it feel more impactful when it came in. So, but no, I do think it was a weird decision, like the way it was handled.
Yeah. It's kind of all I got on music,
yeah,
now,
like
which is fucked up. I should have more.
It feels like there's more to that story that we don't know. Like, it definitely feels like something happened along the way that made them change what they were gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what it feels like.
It just seems to me strange. Because what could have happened if that was your goal when you set out to develop the game? Like, I feel like it has to be intentional.
I don't know. I mean, you start out with the concept of it's gonna be an album, but with a point-and-click game mapped onto it, and, like, maybe that just didn't work. Like, they just, like, couldn't, figure out a way to make that good. And they're like, well, I guess we'll make it a point-and-click game. with this soundtrack in it. We'll just flip it. And then, I don't know. And then
that is, I mean,
that's what I imagine, like something along those lines.
I admit, like, it sounds pretty simple, but I honestly didn't think just, like, it didn't work as being an option.
Yeah.
But yeah, that totally is just...
Yeah, that sounds like something that would be really hard. Like, it's an evocative idea, right? That sounds cool, but I feel like it'd be hard to make that work in a way that was fun to play, or, like... Because, like, listening to an album is a very passive thing, and playing a game is very active.
Right.
So, like, presenting a game in which you can actually, like, listen to the, like, pay attention to the music and play at the same time, I think would be kind of hard to do unless it's something really simple like audio surf or something.
Right. Coming soon?
Yeah, coming soon to a theater near you. So, yeah, I don't know. I imagine that it was, like, during development they realized maybe that idea wasn't the best.
That could be. Yeah, let's talk about the development of the game and how we don't know anything about how it was developed, but we do know what was developed, and it was this point and click game where you walk around. How'd you like it?
I enjoyed this game. Overall, it's a little bit hard to get used to. I think if I would have known initially, like, that it's air quotes a phone game, and like that's why it's designed the way it is. Like, I initially kind of felt like, because I played on PC, so like mouse and keyboard, and you had to like click and hold on a spot to like make your character move. It felt kind of awkward at first, but like after like thinking about it through the lens of like, oh, it's like for a phone and you would like tap and hold your finger, I was like, okay, this makes a lot more sense, this, like, when I think of it that way. So I settled into that, and yeah, I really like the backgrounds, like the pixel art for the backgrounds. Like, I think they're like, it's like zoomed out and like nicely detailed. It's like a nice like dark green foresty color palette. It kind of makes me think of concept art for the Disney animated Sleeping Beauty movie.
Okay.
Which is high praise coming from me, because I think that is maybe like one of the movies with the best art direction I've ever seen. It's underappreciated, I think, but that's another story for another time. There's like the specific screen where it's like the log bridge, and then like there's the 3 graves up on the side. Like that, like kind of cliffside vista is like very reminiscent of a shot from Sleeping Beauty. So I was really impressed with that stuff, and yeah, and like the music, like tonally, like I like the little world that it sets up. Like that really drew me in.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah,
I said a lot there.
Yeah,
so.
no, I mean, specifically because we're talking, because you brought up the visuals. I do want to call those out as well, just for being really incredible, like in a weird way, like in a way that I specifically feel like I appreciate, because it is, there's like a level of, this game doesn't care about making things look real, and also, but it just does with the backgrounds. Like, the backgrounds do look real, despite the fact that they're rendered in such like a lo-fi way. And then the character models themselves are drawn as these very lanky, undetailed, unnatural looking humanoid characters.
Very low bit looking character sprites. I feel like that's just like a stylistic indie thing.
Yeah.
To have like more detailed backgrounds and simpler sprites. Like, we've seen it in like something like Undertale and Celeste and other things.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's done for like ease of animation, but I also think like in this game it feels a little bit more like a stylistic choice to me.
Yeah, I feel like the character designs especially were done like a lot just for a laugh. Like, compare your character, who gets a lot of like close-up time, and like how the arms and legs bend in this like really awkward way, and they have like, they're basically little crescents
Yeah, they're like segmented weird, like where it's like the top part of like the shoulder is like set off of the body, and then it comes down, and then like the rest of the arm is like a pixel over. It's like not really connected.
Yeah, it's like only a single line of pixels, so you end up with that kind of jagged look.
Yeah.
But then you look at the dog,
Yeah,
and the dog actually looks dog fella looks super good, but like looks like a dog, which would be if it was rendered
so zoomed out.
Yeah, like if it was rendered in the same way as the human characters, it would be really hard to make something look like read as a dog.
Right.
But it absolutely does. So I feel like part of it is just like they thought it looked funny and it matches with the tone. So I agree with it and think that it is good.
Yeah, part of me thinks that like the sprites were one of the earlier things created.
And they just spent like 7 months making all the fucking trees and bushes.
Here is a screenshot I took of the Sleeping Beauty level from Cucks.
From Cucks, yeah.
So you can see what I'm talking about.
Oh wow, that does look very similar as well.
Yeah.
They have like more hand-drawn assets in this game, but yeah.
But
the landscape.
So yeah, I'd be surprised if Sleeping Beauty wasn't like a direct inspiration to the art team.
Yeah. It's funny like how fucking dense everything is as well. Like especially when you get to the puzzles in the third chapter, and there are a whole bunch of them like right in a row that you do, and a lot of them just involve like sort of pixel hunting, like pattern finding, stuff like that. And
some more difficult than others.
Yeah, by a lot. And like there are just so many interactable objects, and there like need to be in order to make those puzzles work. But then also I'm always constantly impressed by how much stuff is there and how most of it seems pretty unique, like from screen to screen.
Yeah, it's very dense. It's a nice touch. How in the dream walking realm, whatever it's called, in the like the bright moon and the dark moon phase, whatever they were called, all the screens that have the puzzles in the light moon phase are not where the puzzles are located in the dark moon phase. It's like all the screens that have puzzles in one phase are different than the other. So it's kind of like it swaps where like the sprites are hidden. Yeah,
so you end up they're using every part of the
they use literally every screen.
Yeah, so that it doesn't, and it helps because it helps them not repeat things. Not that they don't exactly, but like, then is where I want to go next. Is to the Sworcery.
The Sworcery.
Yeah, because I threw some shade at the combat system earlier. We could talk about the sword part if you want, because I don't entirely want to dismiss it completely. But leading up to when you do anything interesting with the sword, you do Sworcery with a W. And that you do this to solve puzzles, and it's the same puzzle in effect where you are trying to do a set of things in order to make a Sylvan sprite show itself, and then you tap on it, and then you just have to collect those to bring about a time of miracles. That is what you do in the fiction of the game. But what you do in reality is you go to a screen where there's a glowing thing.
A glowing spot on the ground or in a spot on the screen.
Sometimes in the water.
Yes.
One time it was in a house, I think. And then you have to just click on shit and figure out what it wants you to do.
Yeah, you have to like click and hold on yourself, and it makes like an aura come out, and like your character is singing, supposedly, I think.
Yeah.
In the fiction of the game, and then you have to like look for things in the environment to like interact with, and my favorite ones are the ones that like take the concept a little bit further, like the one where you have to like look down into the water, like the reflection of the lake, to like find what's different in the reflection to find out what to click on, stuff like that.
I was desperately hoping my favorite one of these by like 1,000,000 miles, like not even close, was the one where you play the waterfalls like a guitar. Like, that was very cool.
That one was really cool, but maybe a little bit too hard to figure out, I thought.
We might have different opinions on which ones were hard.
Oh, yeah?
Because the reflection one was, like, impossible for
Really?
me. I
mean, you do have Specialized.
I do have those Specialized. I found...
Like, the guitar, like, the waterfall ones, like, it took me forever to figure out how it was supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I felt like I would, like, move the cursor over the waterfall to find the spot, and then I'd go to the next one, and then it would immediately just, like, make it all disappear, like, I fucked up. Like, it took me forever to figure out, like, what I was doing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, because the waterfall one... Maybe, because I think... Well, no, because the reflection one I definitely was in the last set that I did. So I definitely I understood what the game wanted at that point.
Yeah.
I have no excuse. But the waterfall one for me is just like I strummed one and realized what it was doing. And I strummed another one that went away. And I was like, what was the difference between these? Oh, it's a number of streams. So you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, you just have to count them up.
Right. That's the one that's in, like, the wider screen, like, before the hollow tree.
Yes.
Is like that. But the one that's, like, at the beginning of the dream area that just has, like, 3 waterfalls.
Oh,
they're just like 3 waterfalls, and, like, that's the one that fucked with me.
Right.
Like, I'd really slowly run the cursor over it till, like, I got to the spot, and it lit up, and I'm like, okay. And then I go to the second one, and then I'd run the cursor down it, and then it would, like, hit and then immediately disappear. I'm like, what the fuck did I do wrong?
I don't even know what you did wrong. That does not sound like what I did.
Like, I eventually, when I got it right, it just worked. Like, I don't know what I was fucking up.
Yeah. The first one that took me, because they don't explain.
But yeah, the second version of it is real good.
Yeah. They don't explain, and this is a problem. It's not a problem inherent to the game, I don't think. But, like, in order to do this kind of a puzzle, you can't tell somebody what they're looking for. They do that in the second chapter for the most part. Maybe they did it for one of them, but I didn't see it. But they tell you, like, oh, you're looking for a Sylvan sprite surrounded by this or something, like with some shapely trees or whatever it's gonna say. And you go and you know kind of what you're looking for. But then in the third chapter, in the main game,
the main phase,
in the main phase, pre-combat, you do everything blind, more or less. Nobody's there to give you hints, and so there would be times when I would go in and, like, your only recourse, if it isn't really obvious, like some of the trees are glowing, is to just click everything and just hope that something triggers it, and then try and figure out what the pattern you're supposed to match is. And I don't know, like, I don't love that part of it. And also, I didn't ever figure out what the sheep thing was until after the whole thing ended. So
I don't know what it was.
It was supposed to find matching sheep, like sheep that were doing and looking the same. Yeah, I was, like, writing them down as numbers. Like, I was like, this is sheep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I would click on them, and then I'd click on a random other one. And if it stuck, I would write that one down. And it's actually a miracle that I got it right, because it means that I was clicking on the same ones in the same order, and then remembered, like, not to cross them. Because if you did that, they'd all go away. I was being stupid by brute forcing it like that, but I could not figure out what they wanted me to do.
Yeah, I didn't notice that they didn't all mostly look the same.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed like there were, like, 2 different shades. Like, maybe there were some that were lighter and some that were a little darker. But that's the only difference I really noticed.
Yeah, it was genuinely hard and kind of off-putting.
Yeah, and it seemed like they, like, did different stuff. Like, they didn't just have, like, a static pose that you could match to another one.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I did a similar thing. I just didn't write them down. I just kind of, like, clicked through them until it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we're stupid.
Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, it does seem very unintuitive.
This game is definitely obtuse in places. Like, for the most part, though, I feel like it landed in a pretty sweet spot for me. Like, jumping back into the game, after so long was a little off-putting. But like once I like got back into it, like I found it to be like it would take me just long enough to figure stuff out without taking too long and getting frustrating. So like I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree like the game design of it isn't stellar, but like the puzzles I think are like simple enough. You only really had to find like 4 or 5 pieces.
Yeah.
So like it didn't really bother me.
I agree that it wasn't frustrating. I just don't think that it was like fun to do.
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it.
I mean, you're the looking fine fan though.
I sure am.
But I don't know. That's the puzzles, and then the cool part of the game comes after that, where you fight the cool triangles, the trigons. And I enjoyed these fights. They were a little like slow.
Yeah, like especially like I don't know if I just sucked at it, but like I died to these things quite a few times, and
I died at least once to all of them. I think
3
or 4 times to the first time.
And then
I was figuring it
when
out.
you restart it, like you have to wait for the triangle to like enter the first phase, and it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I think they do it because they have this dumbass healing mechanic. So, in this game, inexplicably, you heal by holding the shield button, and then like a little circle will slowly come into focus around your character, and when it fills up, then you get a heart back, or a star back. Yeah. And it is so stupid that it exists at all, because it is only useful right then. That moment alone is when the triangle gets all set up to do its first Ganon ball attack. You hold the B button. It gives you enough time to heal your hearts to full. But you could just spawn me with that, because every other fight in the game happens too fast to heal.
Yeah.
So there's no point in having the mechanic exist outside of it, because you can't do it while in the overworld. You have to be in combat to heal. And the only time that you can heal is in between phases of the Trigons.
Yeah. Having started the game 4 years ago, I completely forgot that you could heal with the shield like
so
that.
You just did it with 1 health?
I just ate mushrooms to heal health.
I didn't even know the mushrooms healed health.
Yeah.
I used mushrooms back in college, but like once or twice, I think.
Yeah, the mushrooms will replenish your health.
Yeah. Interesting. Didn't know.
Yeah, so you could just eat a mushroom and then stand there and wait for the triangle to...
Making the healing mechanic even more useless than it was even in my mind.
Yeah, but I still think that in regular fights, like against the enemies, when you would like change the moon phase or whatever, or whenever else enemies might show up, like that bear and stuff.
That bear.
You know the one. It was kind of like whatever, like kind of pretty repetitive, but like the boss fights were pretty tense. And I also think they suffer from the same problem. Like they're all the same, basically, with maybe like 1 or 2 things different across all 3 of them. But yeah, I think there's actually some potential in it, because like when it's working right, it is actually pretty tense, especially on PC, because you had to click on the icons to use them. So it's not like pushing a button. So like whenever like you need to like hit the shield really quick, you have to like make sure you put the cursor over the shield and click it. It's not like just hitting a button.
Right. Yeah, that's because imagine that's how it would also be on a phone.
Yeah,
but
you
on
have to tap
phone you're
it.
using your thumb, which is really it's opposable. It's right there.
Yeah,
you can just kind of do
touch.
shit with it. Yeah, a mouse a lot harder.
Yeah, so it made the fights a little bit harder, I think.
Yeah, pressing buttons.
Like I would have
very
missed the
easy.
shield when it would go
Yep.
for you to dodge. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, so I did mine in the order of I did Bright Moon then Dark Moon.
Me too.
Okay, Dark Moon fucked me up because I think I died 3. I think I died 3 times to the first one, 2 times to the second one, and then once to the other one. And the Dark Moon one fucked me up because it had the phase where it shoots the triangles at you, but it also shot laser beams, and I just really was not paying attention to it. I died to...
Did they not both do that?
No, well, the Bright Moon for me only shot the triangles and didn't shoot lasers during that phase.
It shot lasers at me.
Oh, wow.
I think it's just like an RNG.
It might be an RNG thing. Or I'm forgetting, and it just didn't hit me. I don't know. But the one of them fucked me up good with it. And it and the first one, both, I died on the last hit of the boss, which is frustrating.
Yeah,
but...
the first one definitely threw me through a loop.
Yeah. But yeah, there is real tension. The music that plays is real good. Like, it's got a real, like, ominous kind of grindy vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. And yeah, like you said, the tension actually was present in a way that it's just never really is.
Yeah, I heard that it's inspired by Punch-Out, like how Punch-Out on like I'm assuming the Super Nintendo worked, but I've never played it, so I can't speak to that. But I heard that cited as an inspiration for the combat.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like it's like very reaction based.
Yeah. Yeah, because this one gives you an audio key. You can play. I know that the NES Punch-Out, like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Oh yeah, NES. That's what I meant, not Super Nintendo.
There is a Super Punch-Out.
Yeah,
yeah, featuring Mr. Dream.
I don't know my Punch-Out history.
Punch-Out's a good game. I don't know if I would ever recommend it for the podcast.
I've always really wanted to play the Wii one.
Oh yeah, that one I probably would do for the podcast.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, but I can see that. I think because like. There is sort of like a rhythmic element to...
There's sort of
a rhythmic element to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and like the audio cues being like a key factor of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also just the combat in general, I guess, because you do avoid stuff until they have an opening, then you swing. Like that's kind of the vibe.
Mm-hmm. It felt like it was a bit too repetitive, and like it could have been fleshed out more if they wanted to like it to be a big part of the game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, if we had more stuff that was like the
bosses.
Yeah, the Trigons. But and less stuff that's like the Golgothan mass.
Right.
That would be ideal. Because that one was like, it even had like a wind up where it told you how many times it was going to hit by banging on the shield.
Right.
And it never mattered. Like, it's not like it's different swinging once or 3 times, except for how long it takes. I don't know. It was just very strange to me.
Yeah.
Did you kill the wolf?
No. I did kill the wolf. Yes, I didn't kill the bear.
Did you kill it early or did you kill it at the end of the game?
At the end.
Okay. Could you kill it early?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It ran away.
Yeah.
So I don't... Maybe you could catch up to it. I didn't.
Well, no, I never tried actually hitting it.
Oh, I did.
Like, and you connected with it?
Yeah, I hit it until it was at 1 star, and then it ran away.
I just blocked until it ran away.
Oh,
but because I would try to attack it after it hit me because I trained on Dark Souls.
Of course. You had to hit it as it's jumping at you.
Yeah, which I figured out when I had to kill it.
Yeah, you can do that in the first encounter.
The last level. I was like sitting there literally just blocking and being like, Jesus, when's he gonna run away this time? For like 3 minutes before I was like, I gotta mash.
It's not undone.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep running away. So what do you think about the moon phases thing? The mechanic?
I like it. Period. No. I like how it is implemented in the game, and I like that there is both the real-time way of doing it and the moon grotto. I don't like that they put a guy in the game to tell you to change your phone's clock, because it just feels like, I get that they're going for like a meta thing, but it feels awkward that he's in there.
See, I specifically read it as they felt like it was necessary to put that guy in to tell you not to do that. Like there was another way to around it, and they didn't want you to change the time on your phone or your computer. Because like if you couldn't find the grotto and you were like, what the fuck do I do?
Right.
They didn't want you to resort to changing the time. That's how that came off to me. So they put a guy in there to be like, don't do that.
Because you'll be die.
Be a cheater.
And
yeah. You get an achievement on the PC version for not cheating.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. aka just playing the game.
Right. It felt so natural.
Me too,
To
yeah.
find the moon grotto.
Yep.
Because like it goes, you go from, they introduce the bear guy the instant that you get into the dream walking.
Yeah.
And then you go and kill the bear guy, or don't kill the bear guy. And
I think you don't have to. Like, you enter into that chapter and you don't have to go dream walking. So if you're just walking around the overworld thinking that, like, you don't need to go to sleep, like, I think that's what that guy is there for, to be like, hey, don't fuck with your clock, you know, like, do something else. But I totally agree. Like, I pretty naturally try... I walked around a little bit and talked to all those. I went up to the mountain to where the rainbows are, and the face mountain. Talked to all those guys.
What are these folk song lyrics you're
Yeah,
telling me?
yeah.
I went up to the mountain where the rainbow.
And looked at the face of the mountain. Rookie green tail. But anyway, I'm sorry. And then I went back down the mountain, and then like I went dream walking, and then I found the key, and then I found the grotto. Like, it all felt pretty natural, and I was wondering if I just kind of lucked into finding it easily. But it sounds like the same thing happened to you.
Yeah,
so.
it feels like the way it's designed.
Yeah.
Is to do the dream walking, find the bear, get the key, then instinctively know, because you've passed by that locked door like 4 times already, that you're supposed to go there. Like, maybe if you aren't like an entrenched video game player,
Yeah.
it might be less obvious, but
Like, I hadn't even, like, found that secret path before I got the key.
oh, okay.
But, like, I just, like... I had noticed on the bottom of the screen that you can see it when you walk by it. So I
Right.
was like, wonder if the key has anything to do with that. And then I found the path, you know?
Yeah. I found the path because I just double clicked on the door.
Sure.
And then he just walks down
yeah.
the path.
She just walks
Oh, sorry,
down the path.
she, yeah. I walked down the path.
I before he, except after she. But yeah, I also thought that because of like how that worked out pretty smooth for me, I really enjoyed it. Like, it felt really satisfying to find the moon grotto and figure out how to like do it properly.
Yeah.
Because like it was kind of confusing, like finding the guys talking about the moon phases and being like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? You know? But then, you know, quickly after that I figured it out, and it was like, oh yeah. Like, it feels like you're finding a secret.
Yeah.
Like, it lands pretty well, I think.
Yeah, it feels like it's a good puzzle to some extent.
Yeah,
like
for
the way
sure.
that-
It's one of the
that it plays
better
out.
things in the game, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a game world-wide kind of puzzle. It feels like you figured out how the game world works.
I have one other thing on this, and that is, did you have the time paradox expire ever?
No. Because I don't know what that means.
Okay, I had it happen both times. So if you change the phases of the moon and then take too long to get to the boss, then it will revert back to whatever the natural time is. And
I think I did notice it seemed like the moon was like rising, setting,
right,
whichever one. Is that actually happening?
I don't know if that is the indication. I never noticed it. But it's just like there is just a time limit from the time that you leave the grotto to when.
That seems unbelievable that like I never hit
It's a pretty long time limit. The first time that I skipped that I hit it is because I got to the boss, and then I just put the controller down and was like doing something else. Went and got some water. I was like, I'll get ready because I know these bosses take a while. So I did this, and then it just like reverts when I come back in, and I just woke back up. So you have to walk all the way back from the house to the grotto, wait for the moon to change, and then you walk back out, go back into the thing, go to sleep, walk all the way across the fucking dreamscape, and then go back to the boss, which takes a million years.
Yeah, I did, because the first one I did was the light moon. I got all the sprites and then couldn't find where the boss was because I
Yeah.
didn't go across the lake. So I ended up just leaving the dream realm of my own accord, and then realizing I had to go back, and then I found it in the middle of the lake. But for some reason, I just did not think to go back across it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did eventually find it. So I did not have it expire, but I did, through my own idiocy, have to do that exact same thing where I had to walk back to the grotto,
Right.
change it, and then go back in.
Yeah. So then is my like final real complaint with this game is that I just feel like that was unnecessary. Like
Yeah.
the fact that you have to keep changing it.
I think it would have been okay if your character didn't move so slow.
Yeah. It just takes a
If you had
long
if you had a
time.
run button.
You do kind of have a run button. If you
Yeah.
double tap, you hustle a bit.
I guess.
It's like a jog.
Not even.
It's like one of
It's
those.
like you're power walking.
I was gonna say it's like one of those patronizing jogs when somebody's like, "Hurry up," and you're just like, "Oh, look at me!
I guess.
I'm sprinting now." That's how I felt anyway.
So I have two other quick things. And
lightning
one is
round?
that the Sylvan sprites are drawn in like a vector illustration style, and they look straight out of Year Walk. For all of you NoClip Pocket listeners, longtime fans,
Or General Samogo fans.
or Samogo
Welcome
fans.
aboard.
Yes. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about them. And the sound design's really good. The little like song that they sing, like, woo. Yeah, I can't do it, but really
I
great.
can. I'm
yeah,
perfect.
that was beautiful. But I thought that was great. Looked super cool.
They look really good and kind of creepy, which I think is the perfect like
They
balance.
stand out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention that there's like some voiced dialogue from like Logfella,
Logfella.
and maybe one other character at some point. Kind of weird. I didn't really like it because it's just like a guy's voice. It's like not even a voice actor. It just sounds like some guy.
Right. Well, it's always just, unless you found something that I didn't find, it was always just like one word said occasionally.
Oh, really?
Like
he
when-
would say like whole sentences.
I don't remember him talking.
Yeah, like I don't know how often you talked to the characters, but I did like every time I came across them.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, like you would talk to him, and then like after you'd stop actually talking to him, like reading the dialogue, and you'd like walk away, he would just like dialogue would just start playing. Like he would just talk, and it would be like it sound like a hipster guy, and he'd be like, you don't really talk a lot, or like, you know, he would just kind of ramblings of like a dude talking, and it was so weird.
Okay, the way that you describe it, I think I know what you mean. And I can see how it would be lame. Hearing someone talk about it, though, sounds creepy, and I love it. I just imagine that it wasn't actually creepy.
No, it wasn't.
What
at
I
all.
would hear is occasionally when you would, like, walk by him or something, like in the mission where you're going up the mountain for the first time.
Yeah, he'll say like one word.
Yeah, he'll just be
that
like,
also
"Huh."
happens. Yeah, but like you can trigger him just saying complete sentences.
Odd. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's the only character that did it, to my memory. But I want to say at least one other character did it at least once, but I don't remember who it was.
the dog does bark.
The dog barks. He never talks though, and the girl
Mhm.
or whatever her name was doesn't either. I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It is odd. I can't say that I have an opinion on it, but I know that if it was creepy, I would have liked
wasn't.
it.
It
But
wasn't
because
creepy.
it's not creepy, I probably wouldn't
It was
have liked
just
it that much.
Weird and lame, kind of.
I hope the guy who voiced it listens to this. It's like, oh man.
It was a swing and a miss
Yeah.
for me.
Do we have swinal thoughts?
Swinal?
Like sword. It's not a good joke, but it's what I'm going with.
I thought we were gonna go with concrete thoughts.
Do we have concrete? I never said it. I said, dear listeners, like leading up to this podcast, I kept going, I've got really concrete thoughts about what I'm going to say about this game. And That's where that joke came
It
from.
wasn't really a joke.
But
Anyway, when you said that, I thought it meant you were going to have like a take on this game or something. I still don't know what you meant when you said that.
that's fair.
But anyway, so my swinal thoughts, my concrete swinal thoughts are, this was a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked parts of it. Other parts felt kind of weird. And I feel like having been doing this podcast for a while and kind of being like better at kind of analyzing a game and like kind of understanding more about like the development of games and things, I kind of thought of it through that lens, as I was talking about early on. Like maybe their angle for developing this changed midway, or it feels like something like that happened along the way that led to like a less cohesive product in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think like it is like a experimental, mysterious kind of game. Like it stands out in my mind. Like it's pretty unique. I really like the pixel art backgrounds. The moon phase thing is cool. The humor didn't really work for me personally. Like there were some funny things and it didn't detract at all, but like it wasn't really something that I was like super into. But overall I did like this. But yeah, it was a kind of a weird experience, especially since I started it like 4 years ago and finished it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like on NoClip Pocket here, we've talked about like these top tier mobile games, or at least that's how I think of them, but like these more like games from these studios that feel like they take like mobile development more seriously and aren't just like making shovelware. And I feel like this slots right in with a lot of those kinds of games, like Year Walk or Monument Valley and things of that nature.
Right. I feel like this is, to me, sort of a mid-tier mobile game. The line I'm going to draw here is that this is me now playing this game for the very first time. In 2011, on a phone, this is something that I would have written home about. But now I'm not writing home about this game in 2020 on a console or on a PC.
Yeah.
Like, to me, this game feels like I can really dig what this game is doing. Like, I like that it has this sort of attitude to it, in like a cool way, not like in a Sonic the Hedgehog way. Because it's not the 90s, it was cool then. Not anymore. It has this attitude to it, and it has this sort of irreverent dialogue that I like the tone of. Like, I like how this game is structured. I like how it's put together. But I think through... Also, there were some references to Twin Peaks that, now that I'm thinking about it, in 2011 was 6 years before the third season came out. I mean, it was really not in the cultural zeitgeist, so these people are true fans.
Yeah, I noticed the Firewalk with Me one.
Yeah. There's also like an owls are not as they seem.
Yeah. Yep.
Either way, though, that aside, I like what this game is doing, but I don't really like the game. I think it's okay. I think that I had an enjoyable time, particularly when it was immersing me in sort of like its atmosphere.
Yeah.
When I felt like I was listening to the music and jamming out and there was a cool forest scene happening, I was like into it. And then the bosses were cool. And then everything else was kind of like a slog in a way that I don't love. So yeah, I think it's a very cool game. I have a lot of respect for this game, but I don't necessarily think that it is like... It has not withstood the test of time, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for listening to NoClip Pocket this week.
What are we talking about next time?
Next time, we're going to be talking about Penko Park, a semi-spiritual successor to Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, an indie successor?
Yeah. And if you listen to our Pokemon Snap episode, or actually... even if you didn't, I feel like I should put together a bingo card of everything we said we would want to do to improve Pokemon Snap, and then see if this game checks off.
Yeah, I should definitely go back and listen to that Flashbang a Unicorn.
Yeah.
Check it out.
It's a very old, it's like in the 20s, isn't it?
It's from that era, like, where I think the podcast started to get good in my mind. So yeah, it's probably around that era. Like, I know Chrono Trigger is the 20th episode, and it's around there.
Yeah. Damn.
But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, seems like it'll be fun. Until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on our website at noclippodcast.com or splattershot.pro. There you can find links to our YouTube, our Twitter, our Discord. You can listen to all of our old episodes there or on iTunes and Google Play. You could listen to us talk about Year Walk, which we've already mentioned, or TikTok, A Tale for Two, another game that feels kind of like a phone game that was also ported to the Switch recently, weirdly.
Because what hasn't been?
Exactly, yeah.
Also, Detention's another good one.
Yeah.
You want a spooky point and click.
Was that ported to the Switch?
Yep.
Yeah, that's on the Switch. Obra Dinn on the Switch now.
Yeah, but we didn't do that for Pocket.
No, but we did do it.
We sure did.
And we did it before it was on the Switch.
Yeah, we did it before it was cool.
I think Nintendo is just porting everything we talk about to the Switch.
We do have a sixth sense for those kinds of things.
It's true.
We'll check our phones after this, and like Fatum Bachelor will be ported to the Switch. I mean, Tamashi made it on there.
Hey, yeah, you're right. Tamashi is on the Switch. God damn. Wait a minute. Are we
on the Switch
right now?
I'm drifting.
All right, that's good. All right, here goes. Are you prepared?
I think so. We haven't done this in a while.
It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what I'm going to say.
I swear this never happens to me. It's been a while.
It happens to every guy eventually.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
They forget how to podcast.
Yes. I have podcast dysfunction.
I wonder if an aging quarterback can sell me something for that. All right, here goes.
Sponsored by Viagra.
Sponsored by Cialis and Viagra, both.
Sponsored by Raid Erectile Legends.
Join the battle today with your penis.